Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the LCK 2020 Spring for the wildcard match. It is me, Valdez, with LS and DAMWON, able to pull off a really nice draft win into victory in game number 1 over KT. They're one game away from making it on to the next stage, the first round of the playoffs. And we will have to see if they can pull it off here as we near game 2, LS.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what KT can manage to do here in this game number 2, because that is probably a tilting kind of loss, but in the same sense, maybe even a morale booster, given how they almost pulled it back, despite such a clearly massive deficit that they found themselves in, and maybe that even makes them go, hey, maybe we shouldn't draft like this, maybe we shouldn't put such insane responsibility on ourselves to get ahead in the early stages of the game, and try to maybe play a more smoothed out game, especially with aiming and Kuro on your team. There's a lot of control that you could end up having offered, but first let's see who is going to be the player of the game. Who do you think it is, Valdez? Do you think Nuguri got it?
Probably Chovy, based on your votes from earlier. But no, I think that it should be either Canyon or Nuguri, I would have to imagine. I suppose Showmaker could be in the mix in this one, but he kind of was just side pushing and eventually got to a very strong Kassadin. So it is going to be Nuguri at the end of the day. He does pick it up with a 2-1-4 scoreline, as he actually took a lot more damage than he did in this game, but he still was able to do his job at the end of the day.
Yeah, he really got the ball rolling for his team and just had such a phenomenal performance on his own. Goes over the wall here with Showmaker shadowing him. They end up bringing him down with the Rift Walk, and then right here, I mean, this was just really nice as well. Aatrox not really long for the roll here.
Yeah, eventually when you fall that far behind against a champion like Camille, you're not going to have a fun time. As 4 people did actually vote for Showmaker, so one of us was Le Swinger. I suppose it was you. But
I'm pretty often Le Swinger.
Yeah. 5 out of 9 is the score line there. 4 people did vote for Showmaker. Nobody else got votes. Nobody went for poor Canyon. As... yeah, I suppose that Showmaker, when he, went in there and got super overconfident and nearly got his entire team killed, that was definitely a big moment for the team. So anyway, guys, we are going to move into the pick ban here. DAMWON on blue this time around. KT on red. And we'll see if that changes anything up for the draft, as it definitely was very DAMWON-sided after the first game.
Yeah. So let's take a look at what the draft's going to have in store for us this time, as we take a look also at the win rates. DAMWON 70% on the blue side throughout the split, and KT really seemed to struggle on red, which is a bit peculiar, as we already touched on in the game number 1 ban pick, as Jace is banned away again by DAMWON. KT in kind now banning away the set, so Kalista, Aphilio, Senna all still open. One of them must get through.
That, well, we'll see what DAMWON bans here. I mean, we might just have everything get through, as Aphelios is going to be denied, which is kind of interesting. It means that DAMWON say, well, your Aphelios is good, but also that we don't want to first pick it. We'd rather pick one of the others that does get left here. Now, KT could leave them both available if they do want to pick up one of Kalista or Senna. Let's see what they do decide to do here. It is going to be the Thresh ban, so they're taking power away from the Kalista pick with that one, but Taric still exists, so kind of an interesting ban there.
Well, Senna will be the champion that does get through. Now, this can easily be fasting Senna, and most likely should be, as KT now handed over to them. Will they pick maybe Misfortune or something, or Varus? And Kalista are both still open, so 80 carry pool, very wide. Obviously, Lethality Varus has been one of the go-tos against fasting Senna, down in bot lane. You can pick him early, pair him with a counter-picked support in the later stages, and all things are well. Probably going to pair it with the jungle here. So Bono's just going to end up selecting his champion right now, most likely. I think Jarvan would be a little bit less valuable because you don't know what the other champions on DAMWON are going to be, and oftentimes Senna, she can get paired with something like Tahm Kench, or could even be paired with something like Galio even in some cases, if you look at some of the solo queue pairings that go with her. And KT, instead, they're just going to lock in Olaf for Bono. So maybe going to play for Lane Kingdom in all of the lanes and try to rely on Dragon Soul to bring the game home.
We'll see if it works out for them. The Olaf does get picked. The Trundle was first banned on the side of DAMWON, so I think that might have led to that position for KT. As DWG going to come out here and say, well, we're playing LeBlanc, so you might try to poke us down, but we'll try to burst you down with a pick like that. It is going to be blind, technically, into the mid lane here for Showmaker to pick up that champion, as Sion is going to be locked in here for DWG.
Now, this might be the new kind of Sion where you go Sunfire Cape with Titanic Hydra and you just one-shot the enemy AD carry while still being a Godzilla of sorts. So he is making his way back. More and more tanks are starting to slowly come back into the meta, and I do really like to see it. Now, that could also be fasting Sion. That could be Sion down there in the bot lane, which would be really nice to see.
Well, he's eating a lot, right? It's Senna that's fasting. It's
yeah, well, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
It's chunky Sion. He's, he's taking this quarantine, he's taking the social distancing a little bit too far, maybe having a little bit too much cake. And Senna's helping him out with that, enabling him. And absolutely, it could be either one here. And I think that both picks are great into the Varus at the end of the day. I think it allows them to just go really ham into the back line and try to take down that relatively weak and open AD carry if you can get on top of him, as Tahm Kench will be the obvious ban here as a support, as KT did not pick it up. I'm sure that DWG may have expected that as a third pick, but it was actually Galio that was locked in.
Well, we'll see what is going to be picked on R4, or Red 4, Red 4th pick, as Camille was banned away, so clearly respecting the fact that this Sion can be a flex pick. And maybe that also signals that Sohan just wants to go on to the Aatrox here on R4. And then they'll reserve a counterpick support for bot lane. They want to know exactly what they're going up against. And let's just throw all this out the window and go ahead here with a Nautilus or a, yeah, perfect.
Ooh.
So the Morgana's coming in blind. Now, I think in a weird world, we could see something like Morgana go into jungle and Olaf head up to top lane or something. Because we've been seeing Morgana actually in the jungle. And she's been played now in some leagues, but more likely than not, this could just be mid Morgana against LeBlanc and then Galio down in support, or alternatively, Morgana support, Galio staying in mid against the LeBlanc. There are so many flex options here on the side of KT, and DAMWON are...
Ooh.
They are, they're baptized in the Nether Realm is what's going on here, as Pantheon and Kalista are locked in. And I'm trying to think about what this is. I think it's Pantheon jungle with Kalista top. Yeah, Pantheon jungle, Kalista top, Sion support, and LeBlanc mid, I think is the pairings. As Ornn gets picked up.
Yeah, I suppose it could also be Kalista Senna bot, but I think I think it was a little bit of flex as well, because they wanted to see exactly what was going to go into the top lane at the same time. And with the Ornn, I think Nuggery's like, yep, give it to me. I will play that Kalista into the tank in the top lane.
Yeah, I think if maybe some of the lane matchups were different, we could have seen Senna go solo lane in either mid or top, but those variables are not going to end up being at play. And I imagine that Nuggery would bind to Beryl this game so that you can throw Beryl into the opponent and then he immediately presses R, and the chain CC should be pretty insane. Alternatively, most likely Nuggery will bind to Canyon KT, this time around, they have a Varus, but there are so many ways to access him by DAMWON. So even though both of these team compositions are very aggressive in nature, I actually feel a lot more comfortable for DAMWON, as weird as it sounds, even though there's an Ornn on the side of KT, and that's because there's not a lot of good ornaments on the side of KT, as well as their champions, they really peak at the 2-item mark, basically across the board, and then everything's going to start getting weaker. It's also really hard to itemize against DAMWON's team composition because everyone wants to stack armor, and that's going to give LeBlanc a lot of value. But Galio's new ultimate does come with the magic shield.
It does, and we'll have to see if that actually does help out KT, as it does feel like DAMWON have won another draft here. The Ornn pick, very interesting, especially when they should have known that the Kalista could have gone top, as it did kind of seem that that was the way it was going to go, and DAMWON do confirm that fact. So Kalista just going to pick up the call in the beginning and just farm it out up in the top side and eventually get so huge that I'm not sure what the Ornn can actually do, as it'll be very hard to actually lock down the Kalista. You can see that KT grouping up here in the top side, but it doesn't look like they want to engage or invade just yet. Just seeing if anyone wants to face check. That would be typical Nuggery, but he does not do it. He holds on to himself for now. As we take a look at the runes here.
Well, you can see that Kalista taking the Hail of Blades Ornn with the spellbook, double resistances on his side, but adaptive, actually, instead of the scaling CDR for so on. And then we take a look at the runes across the board, and you can see the Varus with the Comet, along with the Morgana, double Comet, double Scorch down there in bottom. So they are really playing for Lane Kingdom down in bot, and that's going to help the Olaf try to capture early dragons. The problem, though, is that it's Pantheon LeBlanc, and Galio does counter the LeBlanc in a vacuum. Pantheon LeBlanc is a 2v2, does get a little bit scary, and if KT just simply try to randomly get Prio and convert the bot lane strength into something, there can be a bit of resistance. Early game should favor KT in some ways, but there's definitely trade-offs.
Yeah, that there are. And I would love to take a look at the bottom lane and see how that's going so far. We're watching Bono clear his jungle, not sure why exactly. Does move over to the right side of the map after picking up the Raptors, and we'll probably look for a full clear from here. He's making his way up towards Wolves after this. Canyon might need to be a little bit more active on the jungle that is Pantheon. And we can see this top lane. I mean, they were like, no, Ornn will be fine. Let's pick this up. And so far, that is not turning out to be true. This Canyon gonna come up here. He'll check the Krugs and look for a potential dive. But we do have Bono making his way all the way around. So it does look like KT have somewhat read into this. And Bono at full health on the Olaf is going to be ready to go for the counter gank here. Here we go, should be a 2-on-2 as they do go for the dive. Sohan able to flash away, but in flashing is Nuggery able to pick up the first blood. And now he does have the Olaf on top of him, and he's not going to have a great time. He is going to dodge it, but it's not going to be enough. The double kill will come in, as the TP from Sohan is actually going to be on the minions. So he probably lost a little bit of XP there on the lane, just trying to help out his Olaf. So at the end of the day, a double kill going the way of Bono.
Yeah, they just barely couldn't see the Olaf inside of the Fog of War, and so they committed to the dive. Take a look at this one more time. I guess we're not going to get vision of the replay, but Bono, he was just about to continue his clear, and you can see the knockup by Sohan. And Bono trying to dog down Nuggery here. Don't forget Olaf. Yeah, I mean, he has the red buff. He has that sustain as well. But Nuggery so close to maybe being able to kill him with the Ren.
It's a strange preview.
Yeah.
Let's listen to what he says.
I got her. 이겼어. I got it. I won.
나이스.
잘했다.
Good job.
That blue background was just triggering me so much.
Yep.
Okay. Kuro has to flash away here, and he's got Nimbus Cloak, so he's pretty fast at the end of the day. And he will be able to get out alive. Nimbus Cloak, pretty good.
Yeah.
Ability. Big fan.
And you can also see So-On.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Black Shield is an ability.
Black Shield. It's very good. Beryl wasn't sure why he was getting that aggressive, but I suppose it's okay in the end.
And, well, this is going to be Tushin and Aiming. Looking for a recall. Aiming does have the teleport available, as Tushin's still very healthy on the Morgana. And they are trying to lane game. Now, one of the things that they must know, though, is that Olaf should be...
Okay, this is one way to do it. TT coming in, and they're going to go for the dive with that shield from the Pantheon, but he's still going to go down. Bono here not level 6 yet, so now it's 2-on-1. Girl also not level 6, but he's going to get here on time for the taunt and be able to turn this one around, but Showmaker not going to give up just yet. Trying to get in there with the distortion. Will pick off the kill. That's 400 gold into his pockets as the chains will land onto Kuro, and Showmaker should be just fine as a 2-for-2 and a lot of action coming out here in the top lane.
Yeah, this is very different from what one would probably ever expect inside of the LCK. Now, So-On continues to fall further and further behind. He just missed another cannon wave. He has level 4.
17 CS?
Yeah, he has 17 CS. He's down 30 farm, and don't forget the call on the side of Nuggery. That is being built too. He built Chain Vest first item, so not even going to try to get the Bramble Vest or anything of that nature. The action doesn't stop, man.
Yeah, Pantheon is everywhere. Now the flash will come out of Tucson here. He had to heal at the same time just to get away from that one, and that's just Canyon walking on up. He doesn't even have Moby boots. He's just walking in and able to get there on time. Still Pantheon very fast. Probably has Relentless Hunter in his build, and he has just been making waves in so many of these lanes and doing a really great job as the jungle first team.
Yeah, and you know, the thing happening here is that Olaf probably not so used to not being the center, as Pantheon is just making so much action happen. And a lot of it is, you look at the lane states or what is able to happen because of Pantheon's E as well, it means there's so many more options that are available. So Bono was up here, and you can tell that he's anticipating it as he's not just immediately waiting for his golems to spawn. And right at the very end there, the turret shot actually hit as the Pantheon E dissipated. If Pantheon lived there, Kuro would just be looking to make a pretty quick donation, as well as Showmaker. He has to flash forward, and you can see Bono doesn't have Smite available. It's not like he can do anything cheeky by trying to smite one of the camps after Showmaker distortions, and then he ends up getting out. So Nuggery with a massive lead up in top lane. Ornn finally dings level 6, but you can see Kalista about 1.6. Has the Bilgewater Cutlass, has the ability to keep sustaining up, and they're rotating the bot lane. Probably going to summon the Ram once the Morgana and Varus are in range to try to make a play here. This can get, yeah, there it is.
They're going to land it here onto Nuggery, as he's going to get the bad news now as he gets knocked up at the same time. He had Flash available.
Yeah.
He just decided, no, you know, I'm Nuggery. I'm going to get isolated death. As he does get killed in the top side. Didn't see that rotation coming. But this is the LCK where everybody rotates up for the Rift Herald at 8 to 10 minutes. As Showmaker going to get taunted up here. Remember, he doesn't have Flash, and one distortion is really not all that much. As the read from Aiming, he's going to pick up that kill. And now we see DAMWON just waiting in the wings, considering getting on here. They want to dive onto Aiming. Do they have the damage? The answer will be no, as finally they will pick it up. The knockup does come in from the Galio, but now Tucson in an awkward spot. And you can see So-On once again cut off from his team, but they're looking to turn it around as Canyon is going to get chased down here. Another nice binding will come out, but Nuggery, is there an answer for this Kalista who's just going to dog them down? Flashing forward, gets the rend onto one. Stopwatch is going to be good for a little bit here. As he's going to try to dive under the turret and pick up that double kill. Nuggery just with the confidence gets a couple and moves on with a huge play in that team fight.
And they light up KT in this team fight. They repel them off of the Rift Herald as well. And they buy themselves so much freedom now on the map. They're going to end up picking up the Rift Herald. This Kalista is massive for what is a very melee team composition on the side of KT. We've had 13 kills here in 9.5 minutes, Valdez. I feel like we're in the LPL right now, as this is definitely not the norm. And the other thing is Kalista, she almost has the call completed. The LeBlanc went down a little bit early, but you can see that KT, they're really struggling to stabilize. And also, as a bit of a weak point, all their gold is on the Olaf. That is where all their kills are mostly located at this point in time. And you can see actually Nuggery didn't have flash. It came up as he was dead.
Okay,
so
that makes more sense.
Yeah. Showmaker ends up dying here, not quite able to get out. The taunt just able to nick him at the very end. Aiming was the one that was able to get the kill, and then take a look as the Kalista, she shoved into mid-wave first before making her way over to the fight. Pantheon, pretty good champion with that E. Canyon able to get the kill onto Aiming. He's trying to run around, do whatever he possibly can. He turns, trying to maybe, hopefully fight, as maybe there's a world where he was thinking that Nuggery could get to him and Pokeball him out, and that's why he tries to turn back around, but Nuggery keeps going forward. You can see that KT, they're playing with fire as they try to save this. There was no real saving. Nuggery goes forward, gets the second kill as well, and now coming back into live, DAMWON, they're only up 300 gold, but it's also the base levels is what's so problematic, and a lot of this gold is about to be captured by DAMWON because they have the Rift Herald. They're getting turret plates now. Second dragon of the game, not super good. If KT get it, and then Infernal's rolled, and DAMWON starts getting those, it's a disaster.
It absolutely is, and we'll have to see if KT can try to somehow stem the growth of this Kalista up on the top side, who is going to finish that call in 5 CS. Actually going to head towards the mid lane for now. But with the momentum that DAMWON do have after that fight, they're able to get the double kill on Nuggery, but they also get the Rift Herald. Bunch of gold is going to go to the bottom lane, the support and the AD carry for the side of DAMWON. And they get that turret at the end of the day. And just in an absolutely fantastic spot for now. As you can see, Bono, he's desperately trying to do something. He mentioned all the gold is in his pockets. He's 4-1-2. He was a bit out of mana, and everybody was a bit spread out at the end of that last fight, which is part of the reason why they really weren't able to put enough damage together to chop down the Kalista, who did finish the call and is just sitting pretty for now.
Yeah, 1,500 gold lead. And it's also important to note that Varus went for the Umbral Glaive as his first lethality item, so not going to have quite the power that one would be granted if he had Yumu's, but will have a lot more utility. As that Senna skin is honestly, it's fantastic. Got that in the store today.
It's shiny.
It's the best. It really is.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm a pretty good fan of that. As here we go, Pantheon going in onto this one. Sion is going to be blocked on the bottom side, actually, by Kuro. And now the follow-up knockup coming in from the side of KT, but the damage is too much from Nuggery here, who almost dies. And you guys may have forgot about Sion, but he did not forget that he was coming back here in this fight. As you can see, the counter engage from KT was pretty nice in the fact that they get a couple of knockups, but at the end of the day, they couldn't even kill the Pantheon on the backside of that fight.
Pantheon's the ability, it is quite a thing. As KT, they did get the second dragon. And good news for them, actually, Mountain came up. So that's something that is definitely worth fighting over. When you have a Galio, Olaf, Ornn, and Morgana, even, who build the Zanyas. So every little bit of amplification does matter, ever so slightly. As Beryl he's down here solo getting some of the turret plates. He knows that he's not going to be able to pick up the last one. And remember, that's not just to support Sion. as he's trying to go for a race car, and
Nice play.
Kuro, yeah. Kuro body blocking him, and then Kuro tries to go for an ultimate and gets interrupted. Rock'em Sock'em Boppers. Do you ever remember that as a kid?
Yeah,
That
I
was
remember.
exactly what was going on over there. The sumo wrestling match between Sion and Galio. As
The two
DAMWON,
beefy boys.
yeah, they turn around the team fight. They saw an opening, they elected to take it, and it was a really close call. That could have gone a lot worse for DAMWON than it did. But they end up making out with a pretty nice advantage. So as things currently do stand, you take a look at the levels across the board. Most of it is present in the top lane between the Kalista and the Ornn. And, okay, well, so on. He has a lot, I mean, well, actually, no, he doesn't. He does not have a lot of armor. He only has a chain dust. So if they wanted to dive him, okay, well...
Well, they're trying to go for the dive onto so on, but the double taunt and the double kill is going to go in the pockets there of Kuro, who picks up a cool 900 gold with that play. The perfect timing on the teleport to get DAMWON to commit to the engage and then take them both out.
Yeah, that was a really big turnaround, as well as Ghost. Just barely managed to sidestep the binding. And Sion does not deal enough damage. Not going to be able to threaten anything super meaningful. As you come in here, clear out the wards, look to pick up the souls as Ghost. Alright, we will pick that one up. Okay, rolled another one as well. 2 minutes until the Mountain Dragon comes up online, as Guinsu's Wraith Blade going to be the second item of the game for Nuggery. Let's take a look at this one more time. So they're trying to bait Shoan into doing this play. Bono is here as well as the teleport, so a little bit surprising. No one's paying attention to that. And then also paying attention to that, Galio was missing.
이거 판트 높을.
Go slow, go slow.
야 뒤에 텔 얘네. 나이스.
From behind.
태보자 이거. 여기까지.
Watch the teleport, watch the teleport. And now KT, they're going to rotate for the Rift Herald. So this Rift Herald, 16.5 minutes, even if they get it, it's going to probably crash into the mid-tier one, but I don't assume that they would be able to raise it.
Yeah, I don't believe so. They're going to get it at the end of the day, so at least 100 gold will go into their pockets. And the top lane has turned into a more classic one here, as Beryl is now solo. Doesn't have a Senna nearby. The Senna is actually next to their AD carry, in a sense, in Nuggery in the mid lane. So they're changing up the lanes here and trying to make something of it. We've had 18 kills in 17 minutes. That never happens in the LCK, but today is a different day, as it is DAMWON up against KT going head-to-head.
Definitely a bit of a knife fight, as currently it's only a 2,000 gold lead. Now, remember, ornaments are going to be a little bit hard to come by. It looks like Galio actually building for Zanya's as the second, has Fiendish Codex top watch, so that'll be a Zanya's Paradox. Obviously, Morgana, Zanya's Paradox. Yumu's Wraithblade, and then Olaf is building Warmogs. So, I mean, an Obsidian Cleaver wouldn't do a whole lot this game, all things considered.
True.
But here's the Rift Herald summon. This is where things can get a little bit dicey. And it's going to all come down to Kalista. Yeah.
It is going to come down to Kalista, and this timing is great because they're able to push it in. They're not rotating, though. As the engage is going to come on in now, the taunt goes down onto the Pantheon, trying to burst him down, but they can't, as the Fate's Call is going to be enough. He throws himself back in there, trying to do the damage. As Sion is quite tanky in the front line, but I'm not sure that he's tanky enough. It's actually a really nice ultimate coming out of aiming here. He's going to get the kill finally down onto that Kalista. As KT, big distortion does go in, but it's not enough to actually do the damage that Showmaker was looking for here, as they will have to give up this Mountain Drake over to the side of KT, you'd have to imagine. But KT say, we can get two, a 2-for-1 perhaps, as they will take out the turret first.
Yeah, now they're going to pick up the Mountain Dragon, and this is really big for them. So that was a team fight while they're waiting on major core item completions. Kalista so close to Kuinzu, and the Rift Herald had already been repelled. So there was no reason to dive in on the Grand Skyfall and just follow the game up like that. So this is a really peculiar team fight decision. You can see Galio channeling the taunt, and they just lock the Pantheon up, and then Ash Ketchum pulling the Pantheon out. I thought that was just going to be the disengage. That would be where the team fight would stop, but then Canyon elected to go back in one of the most interesting decisions that I think that we've seen here, as Nuggery just getting lit up by the Varus. Even though he is Lethality Varus, he still does pack a punch. Showmaker not able to do anything yet. The damage threshold isn't high enough yet for the champions of DAMWON to where they can just run through all of the tanks, because once Varus falls, there's nothing there. This is the part in the draft, if you remember, we mentioned that KT would be really durable in the early stages of the game, but then would begin to taper off. However, now, with Mountain Soul maybe coming up on the map, that's lights out. If they end up getting it, DAMWON's champions will all basically cease to exist.
Yeah, it's going to chop away so much of their damage, as they already did pick up that first Mountain Drake, only one more, because of the way that early game did go. So now we actually have a pretty even game when it does come down to it here. Obviously, LeBlanc and Kalista still quite strong. Even Senna, 1-0 and 5, has a pretty nice scoreline for now. And I think it's really just going to come down to this next fight here. And as we've been talking about, you know, the item power spikes this time in the game is quite good for KT. DWG are going to have to pull off some kind of super play in order to actually fight at that objective. For now, kind of just hanging out, farming. You can see that Showmaker on the LeBlanc doesn't do much to the Galio, who is on his 2 items for now. But still trading back and forth up here in the top side. Showmaker actually able to get the better of him for now.
And they're just going to be waiting, posturing around for getting to the Rabadon's death cap. And I'm unsure if Showmaker is actually going to be able to get to it before the next team fight. Unsure exactly how much gold he's piling up right now. But you can also see that the Pantheon, the Black Cleaver is a pretty big pickup for him because he applies it so fast. And he can even apply it in an AoE, which is really valuable for the Senna, who builds lethality, and even the Kalista, who she really wants to benefit. So, a lot of value there inside of the team fights, especially because all of KT clumps up, and they're all tanks. So the armor shred means so much more to the physical damage users on the side of DAMWON. I mean, even Sion, to an extent, deals a little bit of physical in these team fights, as 2 minutes all that they have. Can they get to the Black Cleaver and the Death Cap? That's the big question, because if they can't, next team fight should be a stomp by KT.
Yeah, well, the next team fight should be at the Mountain Drake in about 2 minutes, and we have been kind of just sitting here, you know, in a little bit of a mini lull state, farming it out, and I think with the double needlessly large rod, at least LeBlanc will have her item. I don't know that the Jungle Pantheon would be able to pick up a Black Cleaver by that time, but we'll have to see how long they can delay it and if he'll even have a chance to go back with the gold that he does pick up here, as there's not much for him to farm at this point in time. You can see LeBlanc is going back now and should pick that up. Yep, there is the Rabadons, and we'll be ready for this team fight in about a minute.
Varus is recalling as well, so that might be a third lethality item. It could be the Duskblade of Wow, okay, so Varus is going to be really powerful for this team fight. Morgana is going to be online for it as well. Quicksilver Sash on the side of Kalista, and Pantheon doesn't have enough. You can see he actually spent 650 on a stopwatch, so a couple of camps away from that massive power spike. And stopwatch, it's not that it's useless, but we'll have to see how effective he can get, or how effective it can be in this team fight. Because honestly, KT, they should probably just flip the mountain and invite DAMWON in, and if they get it in the middle of the fight, game probably just ends.
Yeah, go from there. You get the mountain Soul. And I think even if they all die and give up the Baron, they're still in a decent spot based on what they're going up against. But obviously that is the worst case scenario. So we'll see how they do actually play it out here. You can see that DAMWON a lot more careful this time around. They're not just running straight into KT, looking for engages, trying to spread them out here and close in on them from multiple angles as they did in game number 1. That's a lethal Varus. He's very lethal. He does a lot of damage. And he's looking for another one here. There it is. Showmaker, goodbye. Go home.
Kuro's just going to chase her, and that's going to be the dragon. So...
well, okay. They're not even going to try to go for a steal here. They're just going to go ahead and push into the mid lane as Nuggery is halfway down the lane. Beryl is eating the turret shots as he runs away. As there you go, the Mountain Soul will go the way of KT. And now they are on the chase, aiming a little bit low on mana. We'll see if they actually do try to continue on into this one. As Showmaker on the LeBlanc, going to be quite slippery. But at the end of the day, KT get the big objective. And I'm not sure what DAMWON are going to do from here. I think they're going to have to wait quite a while to get to a point where they can actually penetrate through the double Mountain Soul. And it's not going to be easy, LS.
I just don't even think that it's possible. Varus should probably just go for Hex Drinker as his next item, just to ensure that the LeBlanc can't kill him. I could even see an argument as well for just picking up a straight-up MR item rather than just going for the Maul Malmortius. I mean, Maul Malmortius is probably totally fine here to make better use of the resistances, but this game is really just over because there's no way now to blow up Varus in the team fight. Without the resistances from Mountain, eventually LeBlanc can get to a point where Varus missteps. There's a way to kill him even through the Morgana Black Shield, but I don't think that's going to be possible anymore. Varus is basically a Gatling gun protected by tanks. Not in the sense of a tanky champion, but literal siege tanks.
Ooh. I thought that was going to land there. It was just a hair away from hitting the cape that was Showmaker on that LeBlanc champion. As, yeah, you can see that DAMWON, they really don't want to go at this point in time. You absolutely do not want to try to force a fight here. You're going to try to scale a little bit more and somehow deny KT from taking more objectives here. But we got the Baron live that KT could consider, but especially because it is the lethality Varus, it's not going to be as fast as if it was like an on-hit kind of Varus on the Baron, so it's not just a guarantee. They do have some pretty insane turn, though, so something to consider if KT do want to go that route, but for now they're just going to look to bait the objective on the top side of the map.
Well, we'll have to see what does end up happening. As KT, they can sit pretty and not have to worry about anything. Now, the one saving grace, if you are a DAMWON fan, is in 3.5 minutes, Elder does come up. So, some sort of a miracle Elder Dragon capture could give DAMWON a way back into the game. But by that time, ornaments should also start coming online. We're talking 30-minute mark. That's generally when third item completion really does get finished by pretty much everyone.
Yeah, that is true. The binding there, it hit Beryl, thankfully, for the side of DAMWON. They did not want that to hit Showmaker, because that probably would have meant his death, as Nuggery has found Kuro in the jungle. He's not even looking! He takes so much damage before he actually realizes what's going on here, as a huge binding in the backline. Sion now super tanky, but look at the damage out of the Varus. Not sure that it's going to matter here for DAMWON. They're just all so tanky. And I'm not sure that Sion can just dive into your backline willy-nilly just like that. He's going to get chopped up into pieces. And now KT should have this Baron.
And the thing about this is that, like you were saying with the Sion, there's no way for the Senna or the LeBlanc to follow up from that point. Pantheon also not strong at all. Really outscaled in this game. And The really interesting thing is, we mentioned early on, both of them are very sinful team comps, right? They're sinners on both sides. But the insurance and the durability on KT, it is there. And okay,
they're going for it. Okay, this is one way to try to get back into the game, as Fate's Call is going to bring Canyon back. This time he's not going straight in, as he's just going to be chopped up from the side there by the piercing arrow. But now all in the Baron pit. Nuggery will have a lot of room here. He's going to take out one. As you can see, the insane damage from the backside from aiming, who does flash the wall. Pretty much everybody flashing the wall there on the side of KT. So, in fact, a lot of flashes down for the next team fight. But at least they do pick up the Baron in their pockets.
Now let's take a look at how this all transpires. So like you were saying, Kuro didn't even realize that he was being attacked. He ends up flashing, and Nuggery just couldn't quite follow with the Rend, and Sion just getting caught by all of the teammates. Beryl ends up dying for no reason whatsoever. And now as we're going to resume into live, we're going to take a look at the Baron replay as well. Grand Skyfall goes in to try to do something. He is absorbing or negating so much damage by KT. And then the piercing arrow just comes right out. Ends up
My
killing
stream
Canyon.
did stop, LS,
Yep.
so continue.
As Ornn was the one that actually secured the Baron. Not sure with either an ability or Sunfire Cape. Active, not totally sure there. Nice smite on that one. 20 seconds until the Elder. And that's going to be the only way back into this for DAMWON, is if they can somehow miraculously win this team fight.
It's all going to be on that. As you can see, Showmaker is trying so hard. But look at what happens when he hops back. Nuggery here, what are you doing? You're all alone. He's going to survive, but just barely. Just so close that he does survive. And now is the wrong time to be taking that much damage, because KT, they can just go over to the Elder Drake here. But you can see with teleport available, Nuggery and Showmaker, in fact, will be able to get right back into this fight. And so KT will have to take it a little bit slow. But they say, we don't care that we don't have flashes, we have Baron. Let's begin to posture around this objective and see what we can do here. The Mountain Drake is going to be so valuable for their entire composition full of tanks.
And for a lot of viewers watching this, they probably wonder, why can't KT, who are just so far ahead, end the game faster? Well, it's not what the team comp does. The team composition is a slow-moving missile turret, essentially. It's very immobile. It can't split push by any means. It needs to be sort of fortified at all times and have the Varus in the middle while they maintain a phalanx. And on the side of DAMWON, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of mobility. They have a global basically coming in from Pantheon. There's a lot of control. So they need to let the Mountain Soul, the Baron, and the Elder basically cause the collapse of DAMWON. You know, just make it so that you're so heavy that all of the opponent's speed doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that is the question. Can they actually get to that point? Is the Elder already halfway gone here? Where is their jungler? He's down on the bottom side, Pantheon, and it is going to reset. In fact, they're looking for more arrows out of the Varus, but not just yet able to land them. KT extremely careful and meticulous with how they're taking down this objective. Now 4 members of DAMWON on the bottom side of the Dragon, looking for that engage, but again a reset.
And my stream did just die.
Okay.
So the problem with the dance
Nuggery. Oh boy, you're gonna get locked up and you're stunned for so long. See you later. Sion gonna run his face into the wall, as he is not gonna get to aiming that is over that exact wall. The double kill will come in. And now KT 5-on-3 here against DAMWON. Now Canyon still available, but he's level 12 compared to level 14 for Bono. Can he actually get into position and somehow try to pull off the steal? It's really, really, I emphasize, their only hope. As he does not even have vision. He's not even going to go for it. Decides, nope, we can't do it. Lane is pushed here by LeBlanc. And KT get everything on the map, as the flash is going to come in to try to take down Showmaker. On the chase now. Kuro doesn't have any mana. But there is a Varus on the backside. He's just going to run through the entire, the entire base here, nonchalantly.
You can see Kuro, or Showmaker.
There you go.
Okay. Now she's a part of the grass. It's like that Stephen King movie that came out on Netflix, In the Tall Grass. You watch that?
No. Did you see the fountain where the guy becomes part of the tree? Yeah, it's kind of like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Nuguri just, well.
Yeah, Nuguri just, I mean, he died. That was the thing that he did right there. As you can see, Scion Barrel. There's no way to run into this team composition at this point. Mountain Soul, so what I was trying to say before my stream died was that even with Elder constantly resetting over and over and over, it doesn't matter because of Mountain Soul. Constantly, the shield always just comes back, and they can repeat the same song in a dance over and over. And this is the end game push.
See ya.
This is
See
like
Nuguri.
Thanos arriving at the end of Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
This is pretty much it. They got the soul, they got the Baron, they got the Elder Dragon now. They've assembled.
Canyon having a little bit of fun. He's going to get clapped there right in front of his turrets. And, yep, just going to group up, wait for the minions, and try to end this game. We will be going to a game number 3 as my stream died. Take it away, Ellis.
All right. Well, this is absolutely the end of the game here, Valdez, as yet again, scaling team competition. One more time. It went the distance. Now, DAMWON, they had a lot of options in this game, and a lot of it stems from the Callista in the early stages, being able to offset so many things. But Bono was always top lane to sort of mitigate a lot of the pressure, and just outside of the fog of War Vision, if you remember, on the first dive, that was a very big swing. The game was very neck and neck up until the third dragon just went over for free. The second that happens, the game becomes increasingly more problematic for the side of DAMWON. Their team composition gets stifled really hard. And you gotta wonder now, because we're going to a game number 3, and I was not expecting this, most likely. We knew that in game number 2, the drafts had a lot of aggression on both sides. I would say that they're both... there's a lot of aggressive capabilities and defensive ones on both parties. Obviously, it's offset top and bottom. But with the matchup that they had for Nuguri, it really looks like they should have snowballed a lot harder than they did. Not that he didn't do a good job, but KT, they held on, they made it the distance, and then it just became impossible for DAMWON to win a straight-up 5v5.
Absolutely. And that was another long one. I think we went to about 37 minutes on that one. We went kind of the distance we saw in Elder Drake as well. KT going to add to their winning with Dragon Soul stat. That was, I believe, 17-1 before this game. Going to move up to 18-1 after it, as I'm going to take a look at some of the highlights from the match.
And this is where Bono was just on the edge of vision. Not able to really do anything. Was DAMWON, as Bono, he did miss the axe. He ended up flashing, though, to secure the kill. This was the Rift Herald team fight, where Nuguri was able to show up in the early stages, and this is very akin to the thing that we talked about in last game. Have better scaling and then rotate for early Herald, but really just underestimating this Callista pick by DAMWON in this fight. Kuro had some really fantastic taunts this game as well. The Galio pick itself was really problematic for DAMWON.
Yeah, did so much against the Pantheon specifically, and even against the Scion here as he charges in, blocks that one. DAMWON still ended up winning this team fight, funnily enough, so you can see that they just expended so much to try to get into the backline, but somehow Nuguri did survive. And we were sitting here at this point saying, man, DAMWON looking good. Maybe we're just going to see another 2-0, but that was not the case. As so much action in this game, and KT were able to actually pull it into their favor as the clap comes in here from Kuro at the end.
And taking a look at this fight, this was really just the phalanx maintained. No one can get to aiming. And I thought that DAMWON, they would just back up at that point. But instead, no. The Pantheon shoved himself back in, looking for more action. And it did not end up panning out whatsoever. As here, this was the Grand Skyfall, and that E, I am so curious how much damage it prevented on the side of Pantheon, but just getting sniped by the Varus.
Yeah. Real snipe there. I think if they went like a half second later, he might have actually been able to get in there, survive, and potentially smite steal. Not sure if it would have changed the way the game was going, as you were pretty much correct in calling it over once the Mountain Soul was collected by the side of KT.
The Scion pick not able to really do a whole bunch in this game whatsoever. Never really found any ways to deal damage or have reliable engages. And a lot of that stifled by the Morgana pick with the Black Shield. Makes it very difficult in the early laning phase to get a lot of value, and even in the later stages, the beefy boys of Olaf, Ornn, and Galio protecting the Varus with a Black Shield to couple it puts all the pressure on Showmaker.
And he really was trying so hard in this game.
Tower.
나 탈진 박을게. 라인
이거
없어도
이번에
나 불시 봐줘.
루블 한번 볼게 이거.
그냥 불시 봐줘.
야, 이 새끼.
불시 봐줘. 타워부터 오른쪽 타워부터. 오른쪽 타워. 탈진 박을 거냐?
Saying, take the right tower, take the right tower.
잡았고, 나이스.
Nice.
잘했다.
근데 오른이가 좀
Actually, he
이상한데?
said
나뭐 안
nicer.
했는데?
Oh, okay.
한판
Thank you.
더
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that damage was pretty nice, if I can say so myself. 44,000 at the end of a 35-minute game. As it went the distance, and early on, you could see that damage graph of Nuguri, you know, might have been impressive early on in the game, but it is nothing compared to the massive one of the Varus here. As this does end up being the 1-1 now, we are going to go to a third and final game for the best of 3 to decide who is going to go up against Dragon X in the next round of the playoffs. And it has been pretty close here in the series. KT proving that they can, in fact, fight back.
Yep. Well, we'll see what game number 3 has in store for us, Valdez. I'm going to pay attention to the draft one more time, because so far, we're 2 for 0.
Yeah, the draft has been kind to us so far. And guys, we're going to take a small break before we do come back for that game number 3.